What happens when the garden turns against you and then surprises you with a comeback you didn't see coming? From zombie plants to hidden birds' nests, this June garden tour is full of chaos, comebacks, and weird wins you won't believe. Let's dive in. So here we are in the Front and Side Gardens. It is June of 2025. I've got my clippers. We've had some beautiful weather this month. In fact, it's so much better than last year. Our temperatures have been just right at 85 degrees and lower. And the humidity's been a little bit high, of course, because we do live right at the coast. A few blocks that way and a few blocks this way, we're surrounded by water. We've made lots of changes, and then we've watched a lot of changes be made. And let's go take a look at that. And we're going to start like we normally do over in the southeast corner of the property. We're going to put this little map in the corner so that you can tell where we are on the property. Let's go. And so we're starting off here with what we have been calling the zombie woodchip pile. We called it the zombie woodchip pile because it kept coming back. And finally, I have hacked off a little bit of this, rounded it over, and I have planted 5 sets of comfrey roots. I just basically took the roots and stuck them in here. You can see here there's still a little bit of green, and I've left a little bit of that green on there. We do need to come in here and trim off some of this dead stuff now because it is just costing more than it's contributing. We're going to let this thing grow. You'll notice if we come down over here, there's another one that's already started growing. I think that's the comfrey that's coming up on this one. And then we have another plant that is right down in, where did it go? Up, right down in here. You can see there's one leaf left. Hopefully this is going to start growing up. It did have a little bit standing leaf right there that I was very pleased with. Right now, after a hot day, it is not there. And then over here you can see we have some more green, and I am just taking some of this more dead stuff off of here, and we're going to let this comfrey come back. And you can see, looks like brand new growth coming up right there. Well, maybe not. Something, maybe it may have been eating it. We're going to watch this thing. This has just been here a few days, and we're going to see how it does. There's another set of roots right in this area. There's one sticking out right here that just doesn't look too great, obviously. But there's a whole bunch of roots right here that we're going to see how it grows. And then, of course, behind the zombie woodchip pile, we have the okra patch. And looky there, there is a lot of okra growing. Let me widen out a little bit here, and you can see this okra is about 3 foot tall. There's actually a lot of harvest in here. Mrs. Bowtie needs some dinner for tonight. She's going to be making some fried okra, so we're going to actually pick a few of these and put them together for her. So if you haven't tried fried okra, this right here is the best thing in the world. Of course, when Mrs. Bowtie makes it, it's even better because it has lots of love in there. Oh, it's a little hot. So now there are 2 things I would like to say about this okra. Number one, there is way too many of these and they are far too close together. If I look down here at the base, you can see there's like 4 plants planted in that hole right there. There's 2 growing there. There's 3 growing right there, and that is way too much. These things should be about every 8 to 12 inches apart, and we're going to have to come in here and cut some of these and make them right. Folks, that's painful, I know, especially if you're a new gardener. I'm going to bring a ruler, we're going to do this right, and we're going to make a video, probably a short here pretty soon, on making my okra correct, because these things will grow a lot bigger. My okra has grown up to 17 feet tall, and these are, 4 feet tall right now. Of course, they're just getting started. The other thing I will point out is, you can see here the Florida weave that I have going. The string is going back and forth between these. This is a sisal twine. We'll talk about why I'm using sisal twine here instead of jute twine. And it goes back and forth woven between these. And we're going to have a video explaining several different ways to support your plants, and this is going to be one of them. So again, be sure to subscribe. Follow along because we're going to have some good videos coming out here pretty soon. Outside of the weeds, I'm still concerned about this backside. There's some okra growing right in here that should be growing better than that. I'm not sure why it's so sad. I'm wondering if it might be because of its proximity to the pomegranate tree, if it has some allelopathic properties. The pomegranate is looking amazing. We do have to come in here and take care of some of the shoots that are coming out of here, trying to be a little bit more proactive on that. But looky up here, folks, we've looked at this very pomegranate a few times. It is starting to look beautiful. We're going to be able to harvest some of these this year, and they are going to be delicious. We'll see what we can do with them. We made some pomegranate jelly. before that was just amazing, and I'd love to do that again. Past the pomegranate, we have our American Beautyberry that's coming out, and this is a new discovery in my property. I did not plant this. It was planted by nature itself, and I feel like if nature's going to put something that pretty here, I'm going to do it. Now here's a video of a beautyberry growing in the property I'm clearing, and you can see these flowers, and then coming back over to my garden, you can see how this is just starting. So this is a young plant. It's not going to do a whole lot as far as the flowering. I'm going to leave this thing to grow here and let it do its thing and see if we can get an American beautyberry growing. Now, beautyberry does spread like wildfire, folks, so we do have to keep an eye on that. Not that it really matters in my garden. I let Biden's Alba go nuts. We'll see those here in a little bit. And I'm very happy with it. Of course, over here we have our rosemary plant. Now this rosemary plant, it is looking a little yellow. None of the other plants in my garden are looking this yellow, and I'm not very thrilled with how it looks. And so one of the things I'm wanting to do here, I'm going to have to come back with some compost, I believe, and put some compost around the base. I do want to cut this back, and we will be cutting off most of this yellow. Yep, that was a painful cut. But we're going to be cutting off most of this yellow, and we're going to be taking care of the height of these. They're getting high and not bushy enough, in my opinion. I would like this plant to be more full. So if we come down here and cut, and I've done this before, folks, but if we come down here and cut, so what's going to happen here, folks, you can see there's a fork right there. If I come in here and cut right there, it will start another fork somewhere along this line here. And if I come in here, it will start another fork. So these things will start bushing out a little more. Now, like this is new growth right here. It looks beautiful. I'm going to cut it and try to promote. Now here we go, folks. I'm going to show you right here. You can see there's new growth there, and there's also new growth here. I'm going to cut this and really promote those two things to the main growing of the plant, and that's going to take off. Same thing here. Cut right above. Two little forks. There's a bigger one on one side and a smaller one on the other right there. Those are going to take off. And basically I'm giving this plant less plant to support in the hopes that it will start growing stronger and be a better plant. And I will get some compost on this to make it work better. And folks, that kind of feels painful. It's okay. Rosemary is very hardy. Now folks, this is one of the mints that we planted out this past a couple months ago, and they're looking great, and it still has stuff on it, little insects, but mint doesn't really care. It is kind of getting grown over by grass, and so I will come in here and pull the grass like when I have a garden tour, because now I feel obligated to make a nice neat yard. Folks, it's not going to happen. Just live with it. And so I can also take and I can come in here and cut off a bunch of these taller ones. And what that will do is that will cause this to bush out just like that rosemary does, just like a bunch of other plants will do. And this thing will become thicker and more robust because of the pruning, folks. That is a very good thing. And yes, there's still some more grass around here. Folks, I live a busy life. Yes, I pulled a few grasses out and everything's cut back. This thing next month is going to look wonderful. And of course, next to that mint, we have our lavender, and I'm very excited to say the lavender is still alive. Not only is it alive, it seems to be thriving. Again, there's weeds growing up in here, and like I've already said, yeah, I come in here during my garden tours and do a little bit because I'm here right now. I live a very busy life, and I have to kind of fit these things in whenever I can. But it is beautiful. It smells amazing, and we have definitely 1, 2, 3, 4 plants going. There might be 2 in that bundle right there, I'm not sure, but I am so happy that this thing is looking so great. I do come in here every once in a while and pull the grasses. Next to that, of course, we have our lupines, and our lupines are looking terrible. We're going to see some more, but these things, we harvested seeds off of these, several seed pods, and I'm hoping these things will come back maybe stronger. But this one here, you can see, has totally failed. This one was on the way out the door last month. It is dead and brown. You're going to see a couple more of these a little bit later in this garden tour. The last thing over in this side of the garden, of course, is our brown turkey fig. And this thing definitely needs to get planted in the ground. We are going to be coming through here one day, getting a video. We're going to dig this thing out. I know these roots have grown into the ground. I need to get enough of that root ball that I can save this thing. But frankly, folks, figs are very hardy and they will come back. And I can even come down here and take out these lower branches that I really don't want to be there, because this tree is going to have a very specific design. And I intend to make that work for me. So keep those lower branches cut like that, few leaves on top, and it will thrive. And of course, if you saw the video where we trimmed our GreenStalks, you know that these have been recently trimmed. They're starting to get new growth on them. Like this one, you can see a lot of new growth all over it. It's generally the lighter green parts. And we're even getting a few new flowers on these Calibrachoa that Mrs. Bowtie planted in her own GreenStalks. We also have some strawberries over here. I showed you a strawberry where I had a runner in a little cup. That totally failed. And I don't know what happened. I'm pretty sure it just didn't get watered. But looky here, folks. We have new strawberry runners getting ready. And if you look real carefully, you can see right there on that, there is a root getting ready to come out. This we're going to be putting into a little soil, and we're going to be making more strawberry plants. Folks, you have endless strawberry plants coming out of these things, and you never have to regrow these things again or rebuy these things again, because that right there will give you another plant. We're going to do another video on that. It'll be a little more specific. Typically what I will do, though, it looks something like this, a yogurt cup with a little, this is actually a stainless steel teacup hook, and I will stick that in there and just hold that thing to the soil. Now, I think what happened last time, I don't think it was getting well watered, but just hold that there to the soil and let that thing make sure it gets watered. The reason why I like these yogurt cups is they kind of fit inside the GreenStalk pockets like that. This Calibrachoa, I'm going to have to do something better with this. It's not great. Watch that video to see exactly what goes on with this. And of course the SasquaHedge. It is still growing strong and it looks like the monster that it is. I still have to get in here. I do know that we have some Smilax growing in here. Yes, Smilax. If you don't know what Smilax is, go look at my video on the nutritional value of Smilax and how Jackson's army survived on it while fighting the Seminole Wars. I don't see any Smilax at the moment, but I know it's in there and it's creeping. Here's another thing that's creeping around here, and that is this ivy that's growing through here that I'm trying to keep in control as well. These things have tubers in the ground that I try to track to and get out of the ground. And of course we have the fig tree, and the fig tree is looking gorgeous. Not only does it have full leaves, it has a lot of figs, more figs than I've ever seen on this. If I can go right into here, you can see, hey, there's half a dozen right there in frame. There's one right there, there's more there, another one back there, more here, just figs everywhere. So I'm very excited. We will finally be getting a harvest off this tree. I'm going to be putting organza bags on these, trying to save them from the birds, because yes, the birds do love them. And of course, below the fig tree, we have our Sunchokes. Now the Sunchokes, this is the perfect replacement for potatoes for diabetics because it does not have starch in them that drives up the blood sugar. And of course, there's grasses in here. But I do want to point out, this top pot is the only pot I've harvested from. Despite having the grasses in it, the Sunchokes are growing up strong, and I'm very pleased with how they're looking. They are multiplying and coming out of those root tubers just prolifically. And this pot, I harvested it. I haven't done much with it as far as controlling the grass. It's still growing strong. The third pot down here, the one closest to the sidewalk, I haven't done anything with it this year. I didn't harvest anything out of it, and it is not growing very well. So I'm wondering if maybe if I go in here and rough it up a little bit and, you know, get some of the tubers out of there, get it a little less crowded under there, if it will do better. I'm very interested to see if that will happen. Hopefully that will get on video. If we come around the other side of the Sunchokes here, you'll notice we have lost all the sunflowers. And yes, I eventually mowed them over. I do want to mention that I know that Destin over at Texas Garden Guy once said that when he grows sunflowers started in cups, they just don't grow great. These are supposed to be mammoth Russian sunflowers. They never grew very big, and a wind came and took them out. So I'm going to be coming in here, redoing this bed sometime and planting them from seed in the ground. And of course we have another lupine right here that has just totally failed. There is nothing. Oh, do you see that lizard? Here he goes. See, they like that yarrow. They burrow down in those leaves. But anyway, so this lupine has failed. I do have seeds collected from it, so maybe we can save some of these plants. And of course the artichoke is in here. It is just totally failing. I don't know what to do about artichokes. This has just not been good. The yarrow back here, look how big it's spreading. And the yarrow plant is actually back over there. But these are big, long flowers that have all fallen over in the windstorm. And basically all we do through here is come in and cut back the stems and take them out. And where do we put them? In our compost bin. Go look at that compost video to see where you put them. But you're just coming through here and cutting all these spent stems and getting them out of here so that this plant can thrive again. And there's a lot in here that it can still thrive from. The plant is still plenty alive. This is a 3-year-old plant and it's doing fine. Just behind that yarrow we have this pot right here, and in this pot I am cultivating Smilax. Yes, it's S-M-I-L-A-X. Go look at that video on the nutrition bomb. You see that little symbol on the right side of the screen. Means there is a link to that video in the description below. And so Smilax, folks, this is the nutritional weed that we can eat, and it's very small right now, but this is the first one I've had come up. This thing tastes like asparagus, people. It's actually quite delicious. I do want to point out this Amaryllis over here. We had a little problem with some of our Amaryllis, and I'll show you that in just a moment. But this Amaryllis has not bloomed yet, and I don't know that it will, but it looks very good. It's finally getting its head out of the weeds, and it is going to do well for next year. It is getting energy right now, growing those bulbs. There are at least 3 or 4 bulbs down on the ground underneath here. If I go like this, you can see one of them right there. That's a bulb right there that's growing strong. Each one of these has a nice bulb under it. And this plant's been growing here for a few years now, so it's ready. We could break it up whenever we wanted to. I do see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bulbs are in there right now at least. Now this here is my thyme herb plant, and you can see it is actually looking beautiful underneath here. I do keep this cage on here primarily because my American sycamore tree drops leaves all year long, and 2 or 3 leaves and this whole plant dies. And so I'm being a little bit more careful with it, letting it spread out as it wants to, giving it some space. Rough sage, Mexican rough sage is growing into there. And we kind of make sure it keeps its space with this little cage right here. So this will be growing strong. I see a grass down inside there. I'm not going to worry about it till next month's garden tour. In the middle of the front yard, we have the American sycamore tree, and in front of that we have a pollinator bed. In the back, we have the back pollinator bed. And these things are growing strong. We do have a lot of weeds in here, and I am slowly keeping these things under control. They do pull out pretty cleanly. You can see there's all the roots. If I can catch these enough before they start putting out seeds, then it's wonderful. But I can already see those little brown flowers right there? Those are seeds being formed. I don't know at what point, what stage they're at, but I will come and take these every once in a while, pull a few, and throw these out on the roadside or in the compost. Most of these go in the roadside bin. I do have an accurate identification for these in a garden tour from a couple months ago, in the front and side garden tour, when it was all about the blooms that we're getting. Should we keep them? Should we toss them? Okay, so yes, more Amaryllis. This is a giant Amaryllis. Now let me tell you what we found here. And so about a week ago, I discovered a caterpillar on my Amaryllis, and discovered this was the caterpillar for the Spanish moth, or convict caterpillar, because of these black and white stripes it has. And of course, its favorite foods are amaryllis, irises, and lilacs. These are its favorite foods, and it will eat them up. As you can see here, they're making hearty meal. This one caterpillar is eating right alongside next to a slug. I know I had slugs in here. I didn't know I had these. So anyway, we kind of fed them to the birds. I got one trapped here in the middle of the bird bath and got rid of them. And so I picked a lot of those caterpillars off of this. You can see it got eaten down pretty far, and these things are a little bit more rough for the wear. You can see there's a big, oh, see this bulb right here is completely eaten away. Looky there, looky there. And so that thing is not any good. There is a good one growing there. I might try to stick that in the ground. But you'll notice we have a whole bunch of new ones in here. That caterpillar loves Amaryllis, apparently. That's what its special food is. So this has been here a few years. It knows there's Amaryllis in here, and it hit it this year. So that was a little disappointing. I do have another Amaryllis coming up over there, another giant that's looking great. However, we have, well, let's not talk about that. You know what that is, right? This was our last guessing game. What is that? We have our Thai plants right there. We have 5 Thai plants. Look at this cute little thing right here. This Thai plant is trying to come back, and we're going to give it every opportunity to do so. Pretty sure that's what that is. Anyway, so we have 5 Thai plants across here. The last one is down there at the other end. We looked at that last one last month, and I want to show you where it is this month. This is the view of it last month, and it doesn't look very great. Remember, this had a couple of sprouts on it? Well, here it is a month later, and look at all the sprouts on it. It's coming out everywhere. I'm so pleased with that. It is looking strong, and this will be a hardy plant this year. It doesn't look quite as good as its neighbor, but I'm happy with it. And of course, we have all our little flags sitting out here, and these are kind of funny because looky down here. There is a turmeric growing down here. This is a turmeric that I planted, I believe, in March or April. I think it was March, end of March. And this thing is coming up strong despite all the weeds. And this is one of the purposes of this experiment, to see if it can stand being in a weedy place like this. But if we go over here, look at this guy coming out. This has been covered with weeds. There's still weeds and trees and all kinds of stuff trying to grow around it. And this turmeric has 2 shoots coming up. Can you see down there? There's 2 shoots coming up of turmeric from, I probably planted a root with 2 sections on it, and each one is growing a plant. So the turmeric is growing strong. We look over here at this flag, and it doesn't look like anything's there, but let me show you how sneaky these turmeric are. Looky there. That turmeric is coming up underneath all these little trees. And yes, these are little trees, little bushes, whatever they are. I have to pull them out occasionally, and I do that. If you get them this small, it's okay because they come up nice and clean. Look at that nice long root. But now that turmeric, oh, and there, I just discovered, look at here, there's another little shoot right there. That tells me that turmeric is a very sturdy plant, is a very defendable plant. Oh, and looky here, I have not seen this one at all. There's another one. There's another one growing right there next to this flag. Look at there, look at there. Isn't that an amazing thing to see? These turmeric are beautiful when they flower, and I'm hoping to have a whole bunch of these this year that we can grow. Maybe not even for harvest. If I can just grow it for the beauty of it, I will be very happy. Let me get that green thing, you can see it better. There you go. There's a beautiful view of that turmeric coming up. Is there another one coming up around here? A lot of times there would be another one coming up right next to it, but not this time, not yet. And of course this turmeric is growing big and strong, so we are on our way to Turmeric Town. Frankly, I wouldn't be disappointed if turmeric becomes a weed in my garden. I love that stuff. Anyway, we go from the back pollinator bed to the front pollinator bed. The mums are just finishing out their second flush of flowers. You can see there's another pot of it over on the far side of the geese there. This wood actually belongs to the church. We're going to be doing our campfire fellowship with this wood, and I've got to get it down there. I have some other wood to make a rack with it. Now down here we have a whole bunch of Egyptian walking onion. It looks quite overgrown, but if you look carefully in here, look at that beautiful pole. If you look carefully in here, you can see, yes, there is Egyptian walking onion still growing. And what happens is these bulbules come out of it like this, and they start developing into their own little bulbules, and these things grow heavier and heavier, and this thing will sag over and go touch the ground, and that will become another Egyptian, whoops, I broke it off. No, I didn't. Another Egyptian walking onion plant right there. And so, right there. And so that thing will become another cluster of these things, just like this cluster right here. And these things will literally walk across your garden. It's an onion that you can grow, you can harvest as a green onion, and you will never be out of them. They're great. Mrs. Bowtie will come out and cut a few of them every once in a while. Now folks, this is the pineapple plant that got lost, and look how beautiful it is growing. I've never had a pineapple plant grow this beautiful. I'm so very pleased with the way it's going. Next to that, of course, we have another red flag, and so that makes me want to look down here and see, yep, sure enough, there comes another turmeric out despite all the weeds. I love how this stuff grows. There's another flag over here. Let's see if we can find one real quick. So I'm sitting here looking at the base of this. This is a yellow flag, which means it was in April, I believe, and look at there. There it is, right there. That turmeric is growing despite the weeds. I am so pleased with the way that works. We have in here the Wandering Jew also growing, and that's a yarrow. The Wandering Jew here, and it is growing strong. It's growing all the way up to back behind this Chinese ground orchid. And I'm very pleased to see this. One of these days we're going to see some beautiful flowers out of this. It's going to take a couple of years for it to build up its strength. And of course we have next to it, we have Biden's Alba, which is one of the weeds that I allow, and I talk about this frequently. I do allow some weeds to grow in my garden. And I have been allowing Biden's Alba because they make great flowers that grow prolifically, but I don't want Biden's Alba in this bed particularly. If I let it grow, it will grow and take over this bed, and I'm not ready for that. So I will pull these Biden's Alba out. It does have that's the one with the little white flower and yellow center. But looking down here, of course, there's another turmeric growing strong. Yes, turmeric is awesome. I'm really loving it. We're going to see if I still love it. And look at here, here's another yellow flag. There's another one coming. Turmeric is coming up everywhere, people. Oh, I'm so excited. We also have mixed in here what I am hoping is some kind of a milkweed that Jim gave me, my friend here in town. He gave me 2 pots full of it, and I guess they just grow back. I don't know if they reseed themselves or if they grow from their roots, but this one is growing back strong. I did bury a couple of them over there where those 2 yellow flags are right there, and I don't see anything coming back in that space yet. We're going to keep an eye out for the milkweed. I am currently having trouble identifying that, so if you can, let me know. So I'm trying to figure out exactly what this is. Does that look like a milkweed? I've never grown milkweed successfully before, so let me know. Jim, if you see this, let me know. Yarrow, we have a yarrow underneath here that's kind of got hammered down by a storm. There's another red flag with a turmeric growing next to it. I'm so excited about it. Have I said I'm excited about my turmeric growing yet? We're going to see what this looks like this year and see how turmeric does in the garden. Of course, at the top of this front pollinator bed, we have our 2 Brugmansia, and I did not get any video of this one on the right, but it did come out with 3 beautiful flowers, and you can see they're already spent, but this one over here has still got a little bit of its yellow color, and these are the poison flowers, poison plant. This whole plant is poison, folks, but this is a yellow angel trumpet flower, and that is a Solanaceae, Brugmansia solanaceae, and over to the left here is a Sanguinea, and that means it has a red angel trumpet. I haven't seen any flowers come out on that one on the left yet. It is 1 year younger than the one on the right. 2 years younger. Now, if you watched that compost video, you saw this American sycamore tree and the bark, and you'll notice there's more bark on it now, even after that video. That video wasn't recorded but a week ago, and you can see that the bark is coming back on it, and it does this. It keeps coming back, and as it grows, it sheds its bark, and this is a healthy tree. It sheds its bark and makes compost gold. So be sure, yep, there's a link over there. Be sure and click on that when you're done with this video and see what I have to say about compost. I'm very excited about that video. So yes, the American sycamore tree has very large leaves on it. It drops these leaves all year long. If there's a windstorm, it could drop up to 1/3 to 1/2 of its leaves I guess in preservation of itself. And those leaves are a big part of my compost. It is a huge tree and beautiful and good. Now the crepe myrtles over here, they are a different story. They're doing differently this year. Last year this thing was covered with flowers. This year it is just kind of sparse. I'm not sure why. I think maybe it spent out too much energy last year, but you can see there's a little on the bottom over there. We're gonna have to see if this will come back out next month in the next garden tour. But there's not very many flowers. There's a lot of seeds on it. Now this is a persistent tree, so that means the seeds stick on them from one year to the next. So you can see here, this is last year's flowers that bloomed. See if we can get the sun out of your eyes. But this is last year's flowers that bloomed. The birds will feed on these all winter long. They love these things. They fly all over this thing. This is this year's blooms. This was pink flowers just a few days ago. And so these things will stay here. It's called persistent because the seeds stay persistently on the branch. It doesn't drop them and make a mess. There's two different kinds of crepe myrtles. If you have a crepe myrtle that is not persistent, you might be experiencing a mess, but we never have any kind of a mess underneath these trees. They are beautiful. We do have a little bit of garbage down here. I actually dug this big piece of scaffolding out from underground at the property I was working at, as well as that cable over there. Hopefully the guy that recycles metal will come by and take care of that. This is our eastern red cedar. It's a juniper, and you can tell by the berries on it which kind it is. They're kind of a bluish color. They're looking beautiful and strong. Back here we have the Pindo date, and of course the Pindo date is an edible date, but as I explain every month, this thing is not the kind of table date that you might be used to eating. It is a little bit fibrous, a little bit pulpy. In other words, you can eat one, it's okay. You stick a second one in your mouth, by the time you eat it, you feel like you have a mouthful of dental floss. Let's see if we can take a closer look at this top. So I've got my ladder set up and we're gonna climb up here into the foliage of this thing. That's the ladder settling, that's okay, it happens. And I wanted to show you this time because you can see all three stages of this date palm right now very clearly. You can see over there on the far, you see all the yellow flowers. This is the new bunch of dates that's opened up. It's come out of this shell right here, and it's opened up and there's flowers all over here, and the bees will be flying all over this and these things fully bloom. They love this. Once they bloom, they become dates, much like this right here. This bunch of dates, there's a lot of them there. They can be up to like 50 pounds, but that is how they grow and develop into yellow dates with a red cap. And if we come over to here, you can see the final stage, trying not to fall, is this right here. Once all the dates are dead, this thing right here is what the result looks like, and we take this, it falls on the ground, and we leave it out by the curb or stick it in the compost. And of course, after the Pindo date, I always like to come into this trellis, and on the left over here, you can see we still have our lacinato kale. It is still as tasty as ever, despite going to seed, and you'll see that it's growing out new shoots all over the place. I enjoy getting a few of these leaves and sitting down as a snack with these things. I have made kale chips out of them. They're very delicious. But this is my lacinato kale, still surviving into its second year already. We have another rosemary plant over here that is looking quite strong. I'm noticing for the first time a little bit of yellowing on this one. I hadn't seen that before. But if we go down the road just a little bit, yes folks, we have it here. This is our loofah, people. And, okay, am I growing another loofah down here? Is this the one we cut off, or is this another seed coming up? I do not know. I'm a little concerned about this, but the leaves don't look like those leaves there. Could that possibly be a cowpea next to my loofah? Interesting. How would I have gotten that? Anyone know? Tell me in the comments. This is our loofah. We're doing one loofah this year, and it's only about 3 feet long. But look in here. We already have fruits starting to come out. See, there's a female flower. Looks like it has a fruit on the bottom with a flower. We don't have any male flowers yet. That's kind of weird. Last time we grew this, we had all male flowers for the first month. Oh, I can see there's some male flowers right there. Those are the male flowers there. They're going to come out first. These are beautiful yellow flowers. The bees love them. They're great. Looks like we're in order. We have yellow flowers coming. This thing is going to start shooting up and hopefully cover this whole arch trellis. We have more mint over here. I'm very pleased with how this mint is growing. Another chocolate mint. This is one of the ones we beat up as we were doing our punch gardening video. Looking strong though, hidden it. We have here a new fern that I rescued from somewhere else. It's an Asiatic fern. And I really like the way the coloring is on here. I've rescued it from deep underneath in the back of a bed. So we're going to see if we can get this thing to thrive. I've done nothing with it yet. I do need to get in and repot it, check the roots out, make sure that everything's looking good. This thing is growing strong, so I'm very happy with the way it looks. I do want to see more of this variegation in the color. I want to see if it will do more of that. It's a very pretty fern. And of course, heading over to the north end of our front yard, we have our asparagus patch. Yep, it's one plant right now. I know, one plant does not a patch make. I'm calling it the asparagus patch because one day I want this whole area covered with asparagus. I do have a strawberry plant growing down here that's actually looking pretty good. Occasionally when I do a garden tour, I come through here and I'll pull a couple of weeds back and let this thing thrive just a little bit longer. So I'm waiting for this thing to start having runners. Ooh. That might be one right there. Okay, so we have more Amaryllis over here. We have a giant Amaryllis and then some of my original Amaryllis here. And that giant is looking good. Those caterpillars did not get over here, so I'm very happy about that. It's just a small patch of them over here. We do have our Yarrow down here, and this thing is looking interesting. It's starting to get the dollar weed in here, and it's getting a little bit of grass, which means I need to come back in here and very carefully weed this. It's kind of a pain in the neck, and my ADD brain does not like this very much. We'll just have to see if I get a wild hair one day and come out here and pull these out. And of course, Shawnee did the guessing game here and got it right. She figured out that these things were turmeric, and I got to show you these 3 flags right here. We have 1, 2, 3 flags. These were flags that were featured in our video about this, asking people what it was, if they remembered. And look at there is a big sprout of turmeric coming up right next to that flag. If I come up to this flag, there is not only one sprout, but looky here, there's another sprout coming up right there. This is the one that we did not dig up, as is that one up there. And if we go up to this third one, here's the flag. Can you see it, folks? Looky right there. There's a turmeric coming up. That is going to be beautiful. It's going to be very happy. Now, we dug up one other turmeric first. And if you remember, we pulled it out. You can see in this video, we pulled it out. It looked dead. I stuck it back in the ground because I wasn't sure. And you're not going to believe what I discovered. Now, folks, I was so disappointed with that, I actually pulled the flag out. But looky here. Something is growing up right in the grass, people. And not only that, there's another one growing right next to it there. Whatever I dug up over here, which, oh, there it is, right there. That's what I dug up. It was dead, but apparently I buried more than one piece. So this is coming up just fine. It's a good reason to always plant more than one piece. When that turmeric starts flowering, we're gonna have to go around and count all the turmeric plants. And of course, over here by the lacinato kale, I did want to show you. I know we're talking a lot about turmeric this year. Next year, I guarantee it's gonna be about ginger. But look at here, look at this turmeric. I actually cleared this one out. There's one more flag, there's a yellow flag over here that I'm wondering about, and I haven't really checked this one because it doesn't look like there's anything going on in here, and so I'm look right there, folks. There it is. Amidst all the grass, amidst all the mess, there comes turmeric. This is really my kind of plant. So our compost mountain is slowly composting down. Our 12 yards is probably down to about 11 yards. It is getting shorter. It's noticeably shorter. Sometimes I'll leave the back end uncovered. That's the end I've been digging from, filling beds and pots and other stuff, supplementing things. And we get, of course, to the Grape Arbor. This is going to be kind of interesting because there's a lot of growth in here. And of course, I have my clippers. We're going to come in here and we're going to be clipping back some of these more wild ones, and so we can pass through here. One of the biggest mistakes I made before was I let too much of this stuff grow that's kind of superfluous. It kind of got messy in here. So I'm going to try to make a more concerted effort. Now, you'll notice this one here. It's a big, long thing, but right up here, look at there. There's grapes. And we have a lot of these grapes. I mean an absolute bunch of grapes in here. I'm going to be putting organza bags on these to try to get them to survive the birds. and hopefully we'll have grapes this year. But I am going to try to make a little bit more concerted effort coming in here and trimming off these longer ones so that my arch trellis can be a little more usable. And I'm getting quiet right now because right above me, you're not going to believe what I discovered today. It's a bird nest, folks. It's a robin's nest. I actually got up there and took video above it to see what was in it, and sure enough, look at those beautiful 3 eggs. Robin's egg blue. That's the color, people, and it is a robin. I've actually just seen it. So we have a robin's nest literally a foot or 2 above my head. And so I'm going to try to get this done right now because I know Mama is not here right now. I can hear her nearby, so I am leaving. We're going to have to conclude the tour a little further away. We are going to be harvesting our potatoes pretty soon. You can see they are starting to fail, and that's okay. That's what they're supposed to be doing. They are looking just fine. It's in June, and this is the month I harvest. Now, interestingly enough, we have over here on the left, we have the potatoes I grew last year sitting on a shelf, green sprouting. And on the right over there, we have potatoes that I bought from Lowe's. Now the ones on the left came up sooner. They popped out in no time, just a few days. And I actually recorded a video on that. You can see here, they've just popped out, and the other side hadn't done anything yet. Well, interestingly enough, the other side over there, they grew thicker stems, heavier stems, taller stems. So we're trying to figure out, should I just go to Lowe's and buy potatoes there? We're gonna do this a little better. Tony O'Neill has some phenomenal videos on growing potatoes. I am growing these in solid pots and grow bags. I wanna find out which way is going to work better for us. I am assuming that grow bags will work better. Our humidity here does not let the grow bags dry out as fast. And so we will have to see what we can get out of these. I'll be weighing up the results and figuring out what we got. And of course, some of y'all will remember that we had a mystery germination in this little tray right here. Well, the mystery is solved, folks. These are pomegranate trees. The first leaf doesn't look anything like the rest of these pomegranate leaves, and that's why I was a little confused, because I thought, that can't be a pomegranate. Well, look, there's 5 of them coming up now, maybe even a 6th and a 7th, and look, there's more coming out. I put 100 seeds in this tray to begin with, and I wanted to see if they would grow. They've been sitting in here for a long time. Ooh, there's something big coming up right underneath there. Looky there. So looks like we're going to have pomegranate trees. Once these grow and germinate a little bit more, we will be breaking them apart and have individual pomegranate trees. We could replace some of the ones that we have lost, maybe even some of the ones that we're about to lose. Mexican lantana is looking beautiful. These flowers are amazing. They will actually close up at night and then open up during the day. I didn't know that. I just discovered that last month, I think. But they are a beautiful, beautiful flower. How is that looking? And then of course over here we have berries for new possible plants coming out. And I'm excited to try to germinate some of these. We'll have to see if we can get some new plants out of this. Maybe I will try growing those in seed pods. And of course, the very last thing, we still have not harvested a single blueberry, but look at this pick. The birds have been enjoying some of these. These are delicious. We have new growth coming up in here, which is very exciting. This is going to be for next year's production, but these, oh. All right, folks, I'm getting very distracted by blueberries that are so delicious. Anyway, there's probably 20 pounds of blueberries that are in here. Not the usual 30 pounds that we normally get. And that's okay, because we still have blueberries in the freezer. I like closing my videos back there by the blueberries, but with the mother's nest back there, I'm just going to let it go. We've seen old things coming back. We've seen new things sprouting. We've seen all kinds of stuff happening in the garden in this June of 2025 front and side garden tour. Be sure to follow along next month. This is part 1. We have 2 more parts. We have the outer beds of the backyard and the raised beds in the backyard that we also do every single month. This is my own incremental garden journal. So you're invited to follow along on all the sections and see what we're growing. And if you want to refer to something, you'll notice down below in the description there's a complete index of everything I discuss. I use it all the time. I build those indexes for me. Like I said, you are so welcome to come along and join me for the ride. And as you can see from that turmeric that I'm growing, my garden isn't pretty. It's not perfect. I look for things that will grow no matter what I do to this garden. And that turmeric, oh my goodness, that thing is just thrilling me to no end. So the big thing I hope to inspire somebody this time of year is that it doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be yours. Make your garden your own. Y'all have a blessed day.